Welcome to Movie Lounge. I'm your host, Stephen Wassong, and today is our Wednesday episode. So today we're going to talk about. Let me see if the mic is on. The mic is on. So I got this mic that I use for my camera, but I'm getting a different mic that I gotta find, and we're gonna set it up much better. So there's a new thing I have. So the quality is better. So we're gonna talk about reshoots and a little movie called Split. We're gonna talk about that. I finally just saw that movie last night, and holy man, if I had a bleep system, I could do it. And so we're gonna talk about reshoots and why reshoots are actually important, and why sometimes it can be bad, but most of the time it is actually important. I'm gonna fix the camera a bit. There we go. So I've been noticing a lot of people complaining about reshoots, like, oh, why are they redoing reshoots? And it comes down to continuity, things that you see in movies, or when they're filming, when they're in post and they see something like, oh, we need to fix this. So they'll call everyone back for that specific scene, and then they'll go and film it and stuff. Like, for example, World War Z, phenomenal movie. I enjoyed it very much, but I know like third of the movie was like reshot just because of director problems, and sometimes that leads to reshoots. If like the director, if there's complications with the director and production, director leaves, you're gonna have to do some reshoots because you just hired a new director, and that's what happened in World War Z. I know with Rogue One they did some reshoots, which I think was a good idea because it made it a little bit darker. Some people are like, oh, they killed the love interest. There was no love interest in Rogue One. There, as far as I know, they unless they really hid that, then they good job. But as far as I know, there was no love interest that they killed. It was just two main characters that were fighting for the same thing. Um, yeah. So reshoots can also come in with editing, and the problem with, for example, with Batman v Superman, I don't think there was much of reshoots in that one. It was just poorly done, taking out editing pieces for the film and made a very horrendous movie. That was mostly the script. But I wouldn't say that movie had reshoots per se. I know the new Justice League is doing some reshoots, so it'll be interesting to see how that happens. But in the long run, it reshoots do. It's more common for people to do reshoots. Like when you get hired or contracted to do a movie, in that in one of the clauses, you're most likely going to be coming back to do reshoots. So everyone's kind of prepared for, hey, I'm doing this other project. I might have to leave to do this. So it's kind of like very common for companies to do reshoots. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes it can be. Sometimes I've been on sets where just the film was just terrible from start, and then just when they finally did some reshoots, it ended up being a lot better just because of they saw the problems finally in post. Sometimes you won't get to see or notice any of the problems during filming, during production, but until you get into post, then you'll notice some problems that in the movie that, ooh, maybe I should have done it this way. Hey, we can do this. So it'd be like maybe a few days to a week or maybe a month of reshooting. Sometimes it'll be longer than a month. So it just all depends on what you need to be reshooting. So if you're making a movie and you feel like, ooh, this shot could be so much better, then go reshoot it. There's no problem with doing that. It's it's perfectly fine. People will get mad at you like, oh, why? There's some problem. But just do it because you know this is your creation. You're directing it. You're in charge of making something. And so, yeah, don't let people dictate on how you should make the move, like how you should make it. Sometimes it's kind of good to listen to people's opinions, but if you have a set idea of like what you want to do, then go do it. It's not a problem. This is your creation. You're creating something, so go do it. So that is that topic of reshoots. Um, we're gonna get into Split and why I think M Night Shyamalan is a genius. Yes, I use the word genius, and I'm not using it lightly. Yes, I know M Night Shyamalan Ding Dong was, and that's literally how I pronounce his last name. I can never pronounce his name when growing up. But ever since The Village, he's made crap films, and when I mean crap films, I mean god awful. The Village isn't his best, but it's not his worst movie. It is the start of what we all know him to be now, is this terrible washed up director. And then he went on to make Lady in the Water. Holy crap fest, that movie sucked. Then he went on to make The Happening. What the hell? So it, and then he made this movie, and After Earth or whatever, the one with Will Smith and his son. I watched that and I fell asleep. And when I woke up, I saw Jay Leno on TV, and I swore I thought Jay Leno was a cameo in the movie. I literally passed out during that movie, and I was like, "This is stupid." So then he went on to produce it. What I've noticed is he's better at producing, and the same way with Michael Bay. These two directors are just they're hard to watch, but people can but they know how to get people to watch their movies. Like Michael Bay and M Night Shyamalan are really good at producing movies. Like when he did the Devil, I think it was called, one with the elevator. I enjoyed that movie. I thought it was a very good suspense, kind of like claustrophobic horror movie. I actually liked it, and I didn't know he produced it. I was like, right on, cool. Keep producing, don't direct. Then he came out with The Visit, and I never saw The Visit, and I heard it's kind of like a funny, creepy, like cheesy horror scary movie. And I think he's playing on that role. I think if he is, then cool. If he's not, then okay, you've stumbled on a really cool joke idea. Then I was like, okay, maybe he's coming back. And then I finally saw Split, and stupid me, I watched the spoiler review because someone didn't put spoiler review on it. I watched it and saw the ending and I clicked off. So I know I going into seeing this movie, I kind of already knew what Split was a little bit, but not all the way. Split, hands down, is his best comeback movie. It is not only like a little claustrophobic, but it's intelligent. And when I mean he's a genius, I'm not talking about he's the best director ever. I'm not going there yet. I'll get to why he's a genius in a little bit. How he did the camera work with this is phenomenal. The lighting, the editing, the pacing, and John, I can't remember his name. It's McAvoy is his last. I think I want to say John McAvoy. He did hands down a phenomenal job of playing different characters, and it's believable. Everyone in this movie was very spot on with what they did. There, I got a little annoyed by a couple of the girls in the movie because they were doing stupid things, but they played that role really well, and so I believed it. It's it's one thing to do when you're a washed up director. I'll say that about him. And you're trying and you're trying and you're trying, and then you stumbled upon making something really good. Then awesome. And there's some points where I'm like, I didn't really like that part. That doesn't make any sense until it gets to the end. Everything, and it kind of paces itself really slowly a little bit, and you're kind of like, all right, like I know there's a beast. I know this. I know that. Like, get on with it. And this is the spoiler part. I'm going to get into the fun stuff. You see the beast, and it's nothing like what they created, but is it? But they did a really good job at creating a monster of a character for a person to play, and it's really cool how they did it, and it's a very supernatural style. And I didn't really like the whole wall climbing thing, but it kind of I can stretch my imagination a little bit for that. But when it gets to the end, when you hear the song of the theme song to Unbreakable, I had chills because I knew that M Night Shyamalan was talking about he always wanted to do Unbreakable 2. It's just he couldn't find a story that fits with it. And this is why he's a genius. He put in the poster the biggest twist that I don't think anyone saw coming of shattered glass from Unbreakable, put it on the split poster. Yes. And then you hear the theme song, and then you hear John McAvoy talking in a mirror, like doing split personalities and doing it really good. And it leads to in a cafe, kind of like little diner place. And then you see people talking about like, oh, isn't that what someone did 15 something like they gave a weird nickname to someone 15 years ago who's in prison. And then you see Bruce Willis say, yeah, Mr. Glass. That's the genius part. He waited 15 years to make this. Like we weren't really expecting an Unbreakable 2, but we've always wanted something because to me Unbreakable was that as real of a super like comic book movie as you're gonna get. That's as real as you're gonna possibly ever get. Because it's no one with superpowers or anything. It's just it's pretty real. Then I look up online. He's making Mr. Glass, which is going to be the sequel, and the sequel to Split and Unbreakable. So he's created this story, and I think with Split, we finally get to see how M Night Shyamalan works. And I think with him, he's a special type of director that yes, those directors make crap movies. I'm not gonna argue that no one Spielberg can't make a terrible movie. He's not made great movies. He made some movies, but in the end, it's more persevering through it. Like M Night Shyamalan has gotten crap from everyone, but the thing is, though, he pushes, and I think that's what we can learn as filmmakers is, or in any job, pretty much is kind of take something from what M Night Shyamalan has gone through. And I'm not saying it's devastating or anything, but I'm just saying like if you're pursuing something and then people are and you're not and you don't make good quality things and people are just bagging on you, but you still keep going because you know maybe down the road I'm gonna hit something that's gonna work. That's what he did, and I think that's what we can take it in. And I totally took this into a whole like spiritual, motivational, hey, hoorah. I'm just trying to use that as like if you're a filmmaker and you're just hitting rock bottom and you're not doing feeling what you're doing is succeeding, just keep trying because in the end, no matter what, you're doing this for yourself for a certain amount of audience. Like this show, not many people watch the show, but enough people watch it because they're interested in what I have to say and my opinions. My opinions are my opinions. That's it. They're not straight up. This is what I say is going to be the epitome, the main point of everything. Like there's different point of views of what I talk about, but the people who watch me are thinking, all right, I like what he has to say, or I like how his point of view is, and for me, that pushes me to make this show even better, so I can use what M Night Shyamalan has done with his movies and how he's pursued it and kept going and finally made something well worth watching. Like I would own this. I would have owned this before watching it. Like I bought John Wick before even watching it and loved it. And I was like, this is awesome. Or The Raid. So for me, I can take that and be like, hey, I'm gonna keep pursuing the show because I know this is what I enjoy doing. Even if like one person watches this, I'll keep watching it. Because hey, that's what's important is because I'm trying to get to that one person or that two people in there. So that's what that show is. And I totally segued into the show more. So if you haven't seen Split, I would definitely go see it. The music is awesome. Everything about that. So, and I was talking to some people and someone was saying The Village is really good. I beg to differ. There's a lot of problems with that movie, but it's not the worst one. So, yeah. So that is today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys want another topic, then let me know and I will talk about those things. Or you can leave it in the comment down below, or you can email us at themovielounge15@gmail.com. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll see you guys tomorrow.